folks, and welcome to another Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt, and I'm going through my favorite movies from certain actors. Now, there was a suggestion I do one on Nicolas Cage. Not really the biggest Nicolas Cage fan, however, I accepted that challenge. And I am surprised to say, not surprised to say I guess, but it was very easy to come up with 5 good films. In fact, I thought of 6. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and start ranking these. And then as I started looking at it, the way I named them is exactly how I want them ranked. So Nicolas Cage, some people like him, some people don't like him or hate him. Does he play a lot of the same characters from here to there? Yeah, he does. He does. But he's a good actor, and even though he had to make a ton of movies, I think, to get himself out of debt, he's still a decent actor, and there's some good movies to watch with him in it. And so I wanted to get to all of them now. Now, since it's just me doing these, meaning I don't have a co-host currently, for my Saturday morning Samoflange fans, you'll be happy to know that Benjamin will be coming back on the podcast soon enough, probably toward the end of the month or at the latest in September. I'm going to start having him on again. He would be on in this month, but August is like the worst month of the year for me, and things are so friggin' busy that I just don't have time to meet with him. It's me. It's not him. He's ready. He's ready to go. But it's just me. I just do not have time unless he wants to sneak over here in the wee hours of the night, which I'm sure he doesn't. I mean, I don't know. He's a good guy. He probably would. But anyway, I'm going to have him back on the podcast as my co-host. Can't wait for that. Plus, I also don't know if these were the reason I held back on doing my favorite actor in these, because my favorite actors or the actors I like aren't the same as someone else. So people are like, oh, I hate that guy. I didn't watch a single of his movies. Well, then now they're out of the podcast. You know, when I was doing it with Mikey and CJ back in the early days. So I didn't want to do that. But I always held out, and I kept having co-hosts, and we kept coming up with other ideas. And this was an idea I had in the back of my head, and when it was just me now, I was like, you know what? Why not? Now, like I said, Nick Cage wasn't going to be one of my choices here, but when someone said, do one on Nick Cage, hey, I take suggestions. I will take your suggestions. If you have any other suggestions of Hollywood people I should or actors or actresses I could take. Now, not all of them I can do. I'll be honest. There's a few you could give me, and I'll just go ahead and say it right here. Denzel Washington. He only had one good film. It's not the one you're thinking about. Fallen. I don't like anything else he's ever been in. Everyone's like, no, Training Day, Matt, come on, or Remember the Titans, which were my wife's favorite ones with him in it. And I was like, no, I don't like any of those movies. I just think they're just flat. But Fallen was a good movie. It's a really good movie. But that's the only time I ever liked Denzel Washington in a movie. Just don't like him. But Nicolas Cage, different story. There is a lot of, like I said, when I looked through, I just named off the top 5 that came off my head. 6 came off my mind, actually. And I was like, oh. And then I said, well, what other ones was he in? Then I looked at everything else and went, no, I think I got it right. Because I remember there's a few things, like, oh, gosh, I can't remember the race. I think it was in a race car movie. Anyway, he was in a movie called Face Off a long time ago. It's super cheesy now, I bet. I haven't seen it forever. It's him and John Travolta. John Travolta was the villain. And I remember liking it, but I know it's super cheesy. In fact, a buddy of mine were just talking about, one of my neighbors was just talking about Face Off and how ridiculous it was. But it was ridiculous fun, so maybe I should watch that again. The reason I liked it is because I remember, I think it was the villain's girlfriend was Gina Gershon, an actress. I was like, yeah. Gina Gershon, and I think that's when I first saw her, was in Face Off. She didn't do many movies. I think most of her movies went straight to video, and they weren't that good. I remember renting a few straight to video movies with her in it, just because I thought she was hot. I mean, I was like, who is that? You know, next to John Travolta, I was like, that is what I'm talking about. But of course, you know, that girl goes into obscurity. I don't think she ever did. I think maybe Face Off may have been her claim to fame. I know for a minute I think she was married or dating Owen Wilson for a short time. But anyway, Gina Gershon, was my girl back in the day. So that's why I really like Face Off. Other than that, probably wasn't that good a movie. The other honorable mention I'll mention is Weatherman. I mention Weatherman because I don't remember that much about it. I remember I liked it. But then also I remembered that there's a bunch of other movies that I haven't seen in a long time. Out of all these movies, two of them I've seen in the past 5, 10 years or so. I don't know. I mean, I just don't really rewatch a lot of Nicolas Cage movies, but the other ones I remember. The Weatherman, I don't. All I remember is just really liking it. And I tried to jog my memory by watching the trailer. I was like, okay, I can remember a few things. I don't remember. And maybe I should have gone back and watched it, but I just didn't make the time to do that. But I mean, people in the comments can let me know if Weatherman was good or crap. But I remember liking it, so I thought Weatherman was great. But the reason it doesn't get in my top five, because I don't remember it. I don't remember what was in it. I don't remember. I know he's a weatherman, but I don't remember anything else about it. So I was like, well, I can't put that in my top five. I don't remember anything about the movie. It couldn't have been that good. So that one's out. But I will go over the next five that I have. So, and feel free to disagree with me, because like I said, Nick Cage isn't my best. But to be honest, the last... No, I feel pretty strong about all of these. I don't think you can convince me that one of these movies are better than my top five. I really don't, because I did look at all of his movies and check it out, but there's not one you can convince me that's better. You may have liked one better, but anyway, let me just get into this. Number five. He made, I think, two of these. National Treasure. National Treasure was supposed to be, I think this came out during the Da Vinci Code. It was the cheap knockoff version of the Da Vinci Code. Like the founding fathers had all these, they weren't just old fogies sitting in the White House. They had this eccentric, because they were part of the Masons or whatever, eccentric group that had all these trapdoor secrets, that stored big treasures, untold treasures in the U.S. Because the U.S. was just loaded with cash back in the day from all the money we borrowed from every other country. Historically accurate is probably not. But it is kind of neat, because it takes things like the Liberty Bell and all the grand little places. He goes to the original Congress and he's searching for these clues, and they've been there the whole time and we've never noticed. It's an adventure treasure hunting movie. Who doesn't like that? The second one was pretty good too. I remember my wife and we watched these back to back about 5 years ago. I don't remember why. I'd never seen them. I don't think she'd ever seen them, and we decided those were the movies. Just one of those nights where you want to watch a movie, you just don't know what. And I remember somehow National Treasure came out. I said, well, let's watch these. And so we watched them both one night after the next, and we enjoyed them. I think they may have been on streaming, something like Amazon Prime or something. I was like, well, let's get these. That looks fine. And we watched them. I'll be honest, they are enjoyable. Yeah, they're the, one adventure, one mystery. We have to look into all the epic things, because everything is a mystery. And it happened to be with the U.S. U.S., of course, this ancient civilization that's only been around for 500 years, 4 or 5, just a couple. We've only been around for a couple of hundred years, folks, as a country. But during that time, we have done a lot in our not even 500. What was I talking about? 200 years, and our 200 years of existence. We've buried a lot of secrets. We have stockpiles of treasure and stuff. And I mean, they try to make sense of where the treasures come from and everything. So an A for effort, delivery a little short, but overall, I do enjoy these movies. Now, you do have to unhook your brain when you're watching these, but not that bad. It's not like a Fast and Furious. You really just have to just say, okay, this is a ridiculous movie. It's over the top. It's laughable at times. I'll watch every Fast and Furious movie. I'll watch every even the spin-off, which I thought was awful, but I'll watch it. Most of the movies are fun. I'll only watch them once. I don't need to see them again. They're brainless entertainment. National Treasure is entertaining. It is intriguing. And it's just fun. I like to call these movies popcorn movies, because you just get some popcorn and you enjoy the flick. You do have to unhook your brain a little bit, historically wise. I mean, they make things connect. It's not too bad of a stretch at times, but it's just fun. It's fun. It's fun to think there's an idea. There's this big treasure hidden from the forefathers hid it and whatever, for whatever reason, because the Masons, I can't remember the main intricacies of the storyline, but overall, I really did enjoy those. So Those are two, and it popped in my head. It's like, oh, National Treasure, because those are one of the recent ones. There's only two recent ones that I've seen in the past few years, and that would be one. And that's my number 5. Okay, so my number 4, I remember seeing. Let me make sure. No, there's two of these movies, just two of the 5 I saw in theaters. I did not see National Treasure when it came out. I still don't think I've seen Da Vinci Code. I've never seen the Da Vinci Code, now that I think about it. With Tom Hanks, no, I've never saw that. Because those just didn't interest me. And so I'd never seen National Treasure. I didn't see them in the theaters. This is one of two movies I did see in the theaters. Con Air. Con Air. Oh, classic, right? It's long-haired Nicolas Cage. He's with a bunch of convicts. And they're on a plane. There's just hideous killers. Steve Buscemi plays a really cool. He's not just comic relief. He's a really evil killer, serial killer. And of course, there's a breakout. It goes wrong. They crash, and so all these criminals. And Nicolas Cage isn't really bad. He's just trying to get a bunny. He's got a bad Southern accent in this. His Southern accent is awful. It is awful. There's a lot of actors who can do good Southern accents, like Andy whatever from The Walking Dead, the main character who plays not Carl's son. He plays I can't remember now. Anyway, he's off the show now, but he did a bang up job of playing the lead in Walking Dead for the years he carried the show. In fact, when I hear his British voice, I'm like, how were you able to get a Southern accent so well? He did it so well. It's one of the best Southern accents I have heard. Now, what's his face? The guy that plays Daryl. Golly, I'm just bad with names right now. That's why I need my wife in here talking about Walking Dead. But he does a pretty good one too. It's okay, but man, I can't think of Andy. But his thing is so good. It's spot on. It's really weird. And you can't say Matthew McConaughey because he is Southern. So, yeah, duh, he's got an authentic Southern accent. But there's so many fake ones out there. And I'll be honest, Nicolas Cage is hamming it up. And though it's funny, put down the bunny. No one in the South talks like that. You may think you hear it, but no, we understand the nuances here. That was a deep, and it was funny to watch, but it was really you're like, oh, you're pushing a little bit too hard on the Southern accent there. I'm sipping sweet tea and sitting on the porch. That's not how anyone talks. Anyway, but Con Air is a really enjoyable movie. I saw it in theaters, loved it, thought it was great. This is back, what was this, early 90s? So I was probably a teenager back then, just going to see the movie. If it was late 90s, then I was in college. But, just going to see a movie with friends. Con Air was out, let's watch it. And we all just really enjoyed it. Steve Buscemi's character is really creepy, he's really good in it. And Con Air is just fun. Of course, I may have ruined the only funny, not the only, I'm sure there are more funny ones, but put the bunny down, put down the bunny was a good one there, because he's trying to get that bunny to his little girl, his little stuffed bunny rabbit, and to get back to his kids and whatnot. It's got a lot of the 90s tropes that those movies had back in the day, but I don't hold that against it. My wife and I have been recently rewatching a ton of 90s movies. Just a ton. I don't want to talk about them because some of them I'll be talking about at a different time. Because I want another good actor, or an actor I enjoyed. I wanted to rewatch a couple of his movies, and so I was like, just to see. But I just got to where, and we watched other movies outside of that. We watched she'd never seen the Silence of the Lambs movies. Silence of the Lambs is great. Anthony Hopkins, probably his best performance ever. We saw Hannibal, which was pretty good. They changed the ending of the book, but I understand why, because people would have been outraged, just like they were when they read the book. And then Red Dragon, which is actually phenomenal. I know I did my Ed Norton there, and I didn't mention that I rewatched Red Dragon. I think I'm gonna have to put Red Dragon up in there, because now after watching, I was like, oh my gosh, it beats Hannibal, and it's a respectable second place to Silence of the Lambs. If not just inches away from Silence of the Lambs. I really think Red Dragon with Ed Norton is really unbelievably awesome. The Hannibal Rising, I didn't even know they made this one. It was a prequel they made a couple of years ago. And it's based off of a novel, Hannibal Rising, off the same Anthony Hopkins character. It talks about how he became a cannibal and everything, and how he became twisted the way he was. That's a great idea. The actor who played Hannibal Lecter, fantastic. The movie, bad, garbage, boring. You kept waiting for something interesting to happen, and then you could guess the ending. I knew what had happened almost immediately from the beginning. I knew what the big reveal was. It was dumb. It was dumb. I mean, you could see it coming. It was just lazy writing, I think, because you could, if the audience can guess it from a mile. My wife even figured it out very, very quickly what the big twist was going to be. But Hannibal Rising, not a good movie. Skip that one. Stop at Red Dragon, the Red Dragon, the prequel, which is fantastic. One of the better ones. But anyway, so I just got us on a nice kick, and we've been watching a bunch of 90s movies. And maybe Con Air is one I probably should have watched. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I know it's one she would love. But because I think she likes Nicolas Cage a little bit more than I do. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't ask her. But Con Air is definitely one that I enjoyed. And again, another popcorn film. All right, so number three. What you don't remember, folks, is Nicolas Cage is a man of comedy. And honestly, and I know a lot of people who put this, I know a ton of people who put this at their number one. But Raising Arizona, if you missed that one in the 80s, you've missed out on one of Nicolas Cage's best movies. It is so good. It's a comedy. It's a couple raising a baby. And it's just excellent. It's excellent. I know someone who can quote the movie almost in its entirety. She loves it so much. She even started quoting the first part of the movie until I told her to stop. After a few minutes, I said, "Okay, stop," because she can quote the entire movie. She's seen it so many times. She absolutely loves it. And every time I talk to someone, if Raising Arizona gets mentioned, if you're of age where you remember this movie, you're like, oh, and you start doing quotes from it. I thought about doing some quotes just now, but you know what? If you've never seen it, I'm going to be ruining the movie for you. So I'm gonna try to keep this one. I think I've given you a synopsis. I'm going to keep this one quiet because I really do think everyone should be watching this movie. I think it's a fun movie. Has it aged well? Probably, but yet it's been a while. It's one of those things, like, you know how you can quote Monty Python, what is it, the Holy Grail. Man, I can quote Monty Python. I'm going to ruin Monty Python since I'm talking about it, but message for you, sir. A nice piece of shrubbery. I can just go on and on about, never mind, we won't go to Camelot. 'Tis a silly place. There's so many fun things about the Holy Grail. That's another one I should do. Top 5 most quotable movies. For me, Holy Grail's got to be up there. Oh my gosh, I could quote a ton of that movie. It's been a while, but I still can quote a ton of that movie, I bet. It's just such an enjoyable movie. Well, that's kind of how Raising Arizona. It has some great zingers. I want to leave that alone because I do want you to watch it. Dang, now I'm thinking about all these. Do I want to ruin any? Well, that one I don't care. But number one is I'm going to have a tough time not ruining it because I really, really love it. But my number 3 is going to be Raising Arizona. I know, again, that may be a few people's number one, especially if you're a long-term Nicolas Cage fan, and it's a younger Nicolas Cage too. I guess was he ever a hot heartthrob? It's kind of weird to imagine, but he was big in the 80s and 90s, so I'm sure he was. I'm sure there are ladies going, "Ooh, Nicolas Cage, much better than Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt." Is it weird that Tom Cruise hasn't aged since 1980? Anyway, but I guess Raising Arizona would be one that I would put up there. Now, am I overrating this? Is it just the old fogies? Maybe there's someone way younger than me that is a Nicolas Cage fan. This is kind of weird too. And they went back and watched Raising Arizona and said, "No, Matt, wasn't that good." Let me know. This is one I kind of like to watch again, but I remember always loving it. I quote it with some of my friends. Some of my friends absolutely love it. I know it would probably be, if Mikey was with me, it would probably be my old co-host. It would probably be his number one film. I can't see it not being. CJ would pick something different because I don't know if he's seen it. But I know Mikey would probably pick Raising Arizona as his favorite. So I know it's for a lot of Nicolas Cage fans. I just picked their favorite there. But there were two other movies I think were better. And I'm going to get into number two right now. And number two is going to, I think, shock a lot of people. Because it shocked me when I thought about it. Is this really going to be my number two? Because a lot of this movie and its sequel was, universally panned. And I loved it. Ghost Rider. Yeah, this was his comic book vehicle. He did the first Ghost Rider film, and I was totally against Johnny Blaze being Nicolas Cage. I was completely against it. I was outraged that they took my beloved Johnny Blaze. I don't care about Ghost Rider that much, but I did know about him. I was like, no, don't make Nicolas Cage can't be Johnny Blaze. What is this? This is garbage. And of course I went and saw it and loved it. Loved it. Thought Nicolas Cage did a great job. In fact, I was surprised at how good Nicolas Cage played Johnny Blaze. I went, man, he was really good. And I think this is back in the day when the rumors started coming around that he was broke and he was just accepting any job he could get. And you're thinking, oh, man, why did they have to give him this one? But, the guy was supposed to be Superman at one time, right? Sucks to be him. If you ever seen that documentary about the Superman film that never was, Tim Burton's Superman Lives, oh, my gosh. I can't remember what the... maybe that's the name of the documentary. Find the documentary, watch it. There's some great footage of him as Clark Kent, a picture of him suiting up as Superman. This movie was in development for a lot longer, and it made a lot more headway than what I even knew. But what I like at first, Nicolas Cage as Clark Kent. No, right? We don't see it. Look at some of that test footage as him as Clark Kent. I'm going, maybe. And everyone says, "Oh, that suit looks ridiculous on him." Yeah, but it wasn't supposed to be the main suit. They were just testing it. It was a rough draft. Can you have a rough draft of the suit? I don't know. They were just playing around with what it could look like. But the thing is, though, he may have made from the test footage. He made a good Clark Kent. I don't know. In a way, he may have been a good Superman. That's odd to say. Now he's a huge Superman fan. Nicolas Cage loves comic books, so it's no surprise that he would want to be in a comic book movie, and that he landed Ghost Rider. And this is before the MCU, maybe right before it really started kicking off. Him and Blade were kind of in an oasis there, but which Blade I thought was great too. But anyway, the sequel came out. People hated the sequel. I loved it. I loved the sequel. I thought the sequel was not just as good, but pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed when, I can't remember, it's death or something, it's grabbing a Twinkie. Everything he touches molds and goes bad. But when he grabs the Twinkie, nothing happens to it. And he's like, what? It's a Twinkie joke. I thought that was hilarious. It's one of the best jokes in both movies. And I loved Ghost Rider 2. I was really hoping for a 3. In fact, when the MCU got started, there was questions and rumors going, hey, will Wesley Snipes come back as Blade? Will Nicolas Cage come back as Johnny Blaze? I said, I really hope so. I really was looking forward to, maybe in Avengers they call Nicolas Cage as Johnny Blaze and he comes through there and starts slashing up aliens. I would love to have seen that because I really did enjoy both of those films. I thought he was good. Now, like I said, this is controversial because a lot of people, even Nicolas Cage fans, I don't think liked Ghost Rider that much, but I really did. And it is a solid number 2. Raising Arizona is a great film. Con Air's, I've already talked about my, other films below this one. I have respect for them, but when I think of fun movies, I remember I was one of the few people who walked out of Ghost Rider 2 thinking that was fun. I didn't come out thinking, oh my gosh, it's the best movie ever. Ghost Rider's now my favorite superhero, like a lot of people do when they watch a superhero film. No, I was like, that was fun, and I enjoyed it. Then later on, I saw it got panned. I went, really? I thought it was pretty good. Of course, I gave it a fair shot too, I would say. Well, maybe that's not the case, but anyway, I do think you should watch these movies. I think you'd enjoy them. Again, not part of the MCU. Didn't they recast him in like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something? They recast. Yeah. I think I saw that. Johnny Blaze is recast, but even the TV movie, if the TV show, they can probably bring him into a movie and they'd get a different actor to play him anyway. So I don't know why they thought he wasn't good for the big screen. I guess Ghost Rider 2 must have bombed in theaters. But for me, Ghost Rider, very solid. I think it's a very solid film, or both of them, and they're very fun to enjoy. So that's why they're my number two. All right, so I got one more left. And I can't wait to talk about this one because not only is this my favorite, when I thought about Nicolas Cage movies, I can't remember. And by the way, I meant to write down your name to tell you thank you, and I did not because I totally forgot. And that's doofus move on me. But whoever put this together, thank you because this was fun to do. Also, Nicolas Cage, my number one movie, is also one of my favorite movies. I mean, it's not in my collection, but it should be. And if I do, I should go ahead and put it in my DVD collection. Now, to get in my DVD collection, you got to be really good. Very rarely, like just a handful of movies every year, 2 movies, maybe 3, get into my collection. I have to get rid of some if that happens because I only have 2 shelves and that's all I'm getting. I told myself I'm not going to be buying a billion of them. But why do I get things on DVD? Just in case you can't find it streaming, you can always have it on DVD to watch. And it's a movie I will always watch. And I've watched it, for the past 2 years. I've watched this movie back to back. And that's saying something that I watch a movie back to back. And honestly, I'm not opposed to watching it next year around Christmas. Folks, Nicolas Cage's best movie he ever made is Family Man. Now, my brother introduced me to Family Man. It was 2 years ago because he said, "You've never seen it? It's fantastic." I went, "Dude, it's just a retelling of It's a Wonderful Life, isn't it?" And I was like, "I don't want to see this." They said, "No, man, you've got to watch this." And yes, It's a Wonderful Life in a way. What happens is that Nicolas Cage is a rich guy. He has the world. He owns this big corporation. He's very powerful. They're about to make a big merge, and they do have to work on Christmas Day because that's when the merge is going down. And he expects everyone there. So he's kind of like a Scrooge, right? Well, then he meets I want to say it's a bum or whatever, and the bum says, "Don't you wish your life would have been different or something?" Because at the beginning it shows like a flashback about him and his girlfriend, and they split to different colleges, but now they're not together because they just kind of drifted apart. And don't you ever wish things were different or whatever? And I don't know what happens. Anyway, the story is he wakes up the next morning and he's not in his expensive bed, all single man all alone, or has a lady calling. He has several lady friends. No. He wakes up in a kind of dumpy, middle wage house with kids and a wife. He's like, "Wait, what?" He has a job that's middle management he's managing a store owned by his father-in-law, a tire store. He's like, "Wait, what?" I mean, just everything just is not nice. He's driving a little minivan, beat up, dirty minivan instead of a Rolls Royce or whatever nice car he was driving. And so he's having to readjust to this life. He does not want it. He hates it. He even tries to manipulate, because he thinks he's stuck in this life, he tries to manipulate his life into something else. And this is something I have to spoil, and I'm so sorry. So go ahead and end it right here. If you've never seen Family Man, please, 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 please go see this movie. It is amazing. But I want to tell you about the scene that really got me. There's a scene where he starts slowly accepting his family. He starts falling in love with these kids, falling in love with his wife. His wife, of course, is his girlfriend they left in college. And he doesn't want to leave this life. Well, then he runs into the same angel or whatever in a gas station. He knows what's going to happen. He's like, "No, don't send me back. That's not the deal." I can say, "No, that was never the deal for you to stay here. Just see a glimpse. That's all you get." And it's a beautiful scene, but he's staying up that night. He does not want to fall asleep because he knows when he wakes up, the life as he knows is gone. It's gone. So he's staying awake, watching his kids. He's watching his wife sleep on the couch. It's kind of creepy, but he's sitting there. He doesn't want to sleep because he wants to look at every minute. He wants to feel every moment. He is so in love with his new life, his family, that he doesn't want to miss a thing. It's so beautiful. And then he closes his eyes and wakes up, and he's back where he was, lonely. And he finds out that, wow, I really had a lonely, shallow life. And, of course, he's trying to make things better again. He tries to get with the girl. But the thing is, though, we don't know if things are going to work. Because the girl's like, "No, I've moved on. Why are you still stuck on me? What's going on here? We decided to move on." And so he's got to really build this relationship again. So you don't know what even happens. Doesn't even really have that happy ending. It's not a sad ending, but doesn't have the happy ending you think it would have. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant film. Watch it for Christmas. It's watch it during Christmas. It's a phenomenal movie. Phenomenal movie. Absolutely think Family Man is not just Nicolas Cage's best. It beats every movie on this list by leaps and bounds. And for me, it's one of the best movies ever. It's a great Christmas movie. I mean, it's got to be it is in my top 5 Christmas movies. I can't say it's number 1, but I don't know. It may make a run for that. But now that I have Family Man, like I said, I've watched it 2 Christmases in a row. I plan on watching it again. I mean, if anyone wants to watch it, I'm up for it. Because I think the Family Man is just such a brilliant film. It's fantastic. Lots of good moments in it. Jeremy Piven's in it. I love Jeremy Piven. So there's a lot of good stuff in this movie, and I definitely think it's worth your time. So there you have it. There's my top 5 Nicolas Cage movies. Hey, let me know. Did I get it right? What did I get wrong? Do you not like Family Man? What's wrong with you? Is there something else that you really enjoyed that I didn't mention, a movie of his? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, you know what, folks? We'll see you next time on more Saturday Morning Samoflange.